Snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandy, we can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.
What's up? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. If you're new to the channel, this is the road to 5K subs, man. Where are we starting off with today? We are starting off today. Angel McCoughtry, her video made a little noise in the past 24 hours, but she has apologized. So I said I was gonna, react to it on stream because she apologized as soon as it went viral. It went super viral, so she want to clarify and stuff like that. And like I said, I always salute and respect the Queen of Atlanta basketball for what she is. And with that being said, here we go. We about to react to it. This was uploaded by Nick Hamilton, so shout out to Nick Hamilton, my boy, out there on the West Coast holding it down for LA. And yeah, let's get into it.
So y'all know one thing I ain't is a hater. I ain't never hated on nobody, and those words ain't never come out my mouth. Now, my mistake I made was giving a point with the wrong delivery. I shouldn't have used a certain player to make an example of a point I was trying to make. And I want to apologize for that because I was wrong. I can take accountability when I'm wrong, y'all. So I'm going to apologize to Haley for that because you worked hard for everything you got. You deserve it all, plus more. Plus more, okay? And that's to all the players. I want to see all the players succeed. I'm navigating and fighting every day. I'm in these film rooms trying to get a WNBA TV show to tell their stories. We here, man. So the point I was trying to make was, players have to advocate for themselves, promote themselves, because you can have a lot of talent like anyone else, but sometimes the player with maybe more following will get in. That's all I was trying to say. So I apologize for how I delivered that. And I can take accountability, man. But to the blogs, y'all ain't posted me in about 3 or 4 years, and that's what y'all do to me?
Oh, that's cap.
Can y'all post my new movie that's out?
Oh, that's cap. Oh, that's cap, Angel. That's cap, Angel. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Angel, let's not do that now. Hold on now. Let me there it is. 1 month. 1 month ago. Let's not do that, Angel. Let's not do that, Angel. Come on now. Let's not do that, Angel. All right. But regardless. Dang, look at Ashy Knuckles, man. Terrell in the building. Real OGs, real OGs. None but respect for the Queen of Atlanta basketball. And I was at the premiere for the late Lanier, joint a few years ago. And I had the interview of you talking. Come on, man. Let's not do that, bro.
Can I get a post about my ice cream shop? Can I get a...
Man, I wanted to go to the ice cream shop. I remember because I wanted to go there and visit it and try it out. I think I drove there one time. It was right downtown near Peter Street in downtown Atlanta, right around the corner, if not even the corner, like right across the street almost from Phillips Arena. And it was closed. Like the shop was closed, like it was no longer open because it was right when I moved back to Atlanta, because I think she opened it when I wasn't living in the city. I wasn't living in the state anymore. So now that she said, can you post about my ice cream shop? Let me see if it's still open. Angel McCoughtry. McCoughtry's ice cream. Oh, it's in Riverside Parkway. That sounds like it's in the Epicenter now. So for that, you know what, Angel, I'm gonna pull up. Angel. I'm gonna pull up. We'll do an ice cream thing. But it's just she don't have no non-dairy. She got Italian ice, but I don't see no non-dairy. All right. I should be off because I'm working this weekend, both days, Saturday, Sunday. So I should be off a couple days this week. One of the days I'll pull up to McCoughtry's ice cream before I have to, leave out of town and go back home and stuff like that. I'll be sure and I'll post a reel.
A post about I'm going to Africa helping the kids. Come on, man. But y'all see I got a lot of love in my heart. We here, man. I'm in London right now promoting my film Bygones. Let's go. One love.
But no. Let's not do that, Angel. And plus, like you said you worded it wrong in a way that you meant to say it, and the point you meant to say was like, having a following will help you get on the team. That's just not true. Like, it's just not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds right in theory because of politics. Like, politics is always a thing. You think back to dang high school team of like, dang, why ain't so and so make it? Like, so and so been on the team ever since we was kids. He was on the team when we was kids, was on the team in middle school, was at all the AAU teams, all the AAU tournaments. You know, they play a couple other sports. They run track, they run cross country, they play football, you know what I'm saying? And then it comes to fall sport tryouts and they didn't make the team. Like, what's going on? Oh, coach ain't like him. That don't make no sense. Like, he better than him, he better than him, he better than, you know, you start going down the list. I think that's politics. Politics is I'm good with this scout, with this recruiter, with this so and so. So that's how I got, you know, on this D1 program. That's politics. Politics is Michael Beasley has a bad reputation, and this kid with the same exact kind of stats and stuff like that is quiet, so he stays in the NBA longer than Michael Beasley. That's politics. Politics is Liz Cambage no longer being in the league, Kennedy Carter no longer being in the WNBA because of their reputations and things of that sort, instead of their talent, the statistics, and what they can add to teams right now. Politics is Angel McCoughtry not having a roster spot, being a older player coming off of an ACL injury and wasn't afforded the luxury of a farewell tour. The only thing she was afforded was on the ACL tier, coming in the last play of the game with the Las Vegas Aces in Atlanta, receiving a standing ovation, standing in the corner and shooting a corner three at the buzzer. That is political. The fact that, okay, we're going to go younger player versus, you know, an older player trying to get her farewell tour. We want a younger player we could build the future with. We could see a future with this player, said player, beyond this season. That's political. What is not political is, okay, are we going to go Harmony Turner or are we going to go Caitlyn Chen? Well, Harmony Turner has 50,000 followers, but Caitlyn Chen has 100,000 followers. Let's go with Caitlyn. Like, that doesn't happen. We just haven't seen an example of that. You know, you can even go back. I know we were talking about Kaiser Gondrajic and everything like that. You can even go back a couple seasons ago with Taya Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Taya Cooper with the LA Sparks and things of that sort being cut. And some of the other players that, you know, Derek Fisher and the Sparks kept on a roster. It was Taya Cooper and AG. Arella, who both of them had good rookie seasons. They were coming back for their sophomore seasons. They got cut in the preseason. Like, but I say single out Taya Cooper because she's the one with the following and stuff like that. You know, so I just didn't think that was the right example. You know, and you know, I like a lot of people obviously fixated on Haley Van Lith, but you know, I think it's just true for everybody. Like, it's just too many examples of, quote, like I say, quote unquote, baddies with the platform who aren't on WNBA rosters, to make that point. Like, all the baddies, quote unquote, who are on rosters right now with a platform, they're all good players, some of the better players in the league at their position. I think the only one that's even an argument right now, well, Dejanay might not be having like the best season right now. And let me look up statistically before I just say this now. She might not be having the best season adjusting to a new system, a new coach over in Dallas. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, she's out of the starting lineup, 27-year-old. She's averaging 11, 5, 2, and 1.5. That's still pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. But yeah. Saying all of this to say, yeah, she recently fell out of the starting lineup. She's been coming off the bench. Everybody's still, at least at the very minimum, a key rotational player in the W. Like, there's no just kind of fine bench warmer with a lot of fall. I think Haley Van Lith is probably the easiest target for that because she's a rookie, but she's just a rookie, bro. And like they said, she got in the game a couple days ago and had 15, 16 points. Like, I don't know. It was just an off take. It was an off take, Angel. And like you said, you apologize for it, but like it's an off take. And then I appreciate you know what I'm saying? Plug yourself. Everybody pay attention to the drama. Like, I remember Master P was beefing with Romeo, or, they weren't beefing, but they were going back and forth. And Master P pulled out his, he pulled out his cereal box. Master P O's, get it right now. And you can get you some rap snacks. I love Master P, man. He put truck on the freeway, boy. I remember he was going back and forth with somebody else. And he was like, boy, I got truck on the freeway talking about I'm broke. You need to worry about it. Every single time, Master P, whether it's drama, whether it's, they need him to. I remember BET, 50th anniversary of hip hop, BET Awards. It was no host because it was the writer's strike. Master P get up there to present an award, and he shouted out like his one of his daughters that passed away. He said, "Rest in peace, my daughter. I love you." This and that. He said, "Make sure y'all get the Venerio cereal." A masterpiece. Let me throw some respect on this cereal brand, Masterpiece cereal. Not cereal brand, because he got a Snoop cereal. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was holding up the Snoop cereal. He said, y'all make sure y'all get that Snoop cereal. Y'all make sure y'all get rap snacks. Y'all make sure y'all do that. And I was like, man, he did that in like 50 seconds and presented the award. I don't know, bro. Like, Master P just different, bro. And now you see him everywhere. He walking the UNO attire because, he the UNO president now of men's basketball. He a hustler, bro. He don't never stop hustling. I remember, I know I'm going on tangents. Mike Will made it, bro. At the top of his game, it's like 2015. So this is post J's on my feet. J's on my feet. This is post Ray Shermer popping off. This is post ear drummers being the biggest thing in music, dog. It was like, this is pre Metro Boomin, Future, Jumpman, all that era, right? Where Metro kind of like took it away from him and stuff like that, and ran off with the title. But this was Mike Will made it in his prime. We go to the pop up, he passing out CDs. You can't teach hustle, bro. Business acumen is on a different level. So shout out to Angel McCoughtry. I'm going to plug this. I'm going to plug that. I'm going to plug that. LeBron James get up there, accept an award. I want to shout out the LeBron James Foundation, the great work we doing in Akron. And the songs are like, shout out, plug your stuff, man. You never too big. You never too legendary. You never too cool to promote yourself, bro. And promote what you have going on. That's the only way. The only success is on the other side of coming off as cringe, bro. Success is on the other side of looking lame, coming off cringe, corny, whatever the heck, bro. Do it. Because a lot of people, they call them lame, corny. Like, it's always going to be somebody who don't like you. Oh, y'all doing too much. Oh, I don't know if you ever seen in the chat, bro. Like, look in the streaming chat of a popular streamer or something like that. The streamer just be living life, just IRL. They'll either call the chat cringe for what they saying about the stream, or they'll call the streamer cringe and put the dots and stuff like that. Corny, you doing too much. You okay? All right. Ooh, man, that streamer is getting rich being themselves on camera, or being a variation of themselves on camera, bro. Just doing what you do. You go to the store, you go to the gas station, you go to the so-and-so, they just put it on camera and they getting paid for it. And you calling them corny. You think they care? They care a little bit, but until they see that bank account. All right. I went on a whole tangent about business and self-promotion, but shout out to Angel McCoughtry for self-promoting in a moment of she knew all eyes were going to be on her. All right, next scene, man. Oprah and Tyler Perry. They said they was not at the Diddy party. No, it was Oprah and TD Jakes. Oprah and TD Jake get funny. Jake. Dang, this is Detroit. Shout out to what's the Detroit paper? Detroit newspaper. That's the Detroit newspaper. The Detroit, shout out to the Free Press, man. If this is the Free Press, shout out to the Free Press. I'll leave it at that.
Near a Puff party. Never been near. And anybody who knows me knows if there is a party.
Or is this Dallas? Is this the Dallas Morning News? Because it's a TD Jakes thing, right? A TD Jakes thing. Let me see the Dallas Morning News, this logo. Let me see that logo. Oh, it's the Dallas Morning News. Shout out to the Free Press, too. Shout out to the Dallas Morning News. Both papers, you know what I'm saying?
I'm the first one out.
Right.
I'm the first one out.
I stopped by Puffy's house for 30 minutes to say happy birthday to him during the day at 2 o'clock with staff people. And out of that came a love affair and all kinds of stuff that I have never seen.
You too?
Yes. Yes. Now I'm almost 70 years old. What do I look like? And I am a grandfather. What do I look like at this late date? You know.
I've never been.
All right. Like I always say, bro, allegations about Puff come out. All his parties, he around all the big celebrities for years and decades. Puff gets in trouble. Now all of a sudden, nobody ain't never been to a Puff party. Nobody knows Puff. Jay-Z said they ain't even cool like that. They just took pictures at social events, you know, for the sake of the public perception. Okay, all right. So nobody don't know who Jay-Z is. I mean, so nobody knows who Sean Puffy Diddy Combs is anymore, huh? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. This is backstage of like a Kanye show, it looks like. Hey, yo, this is hilarious, bruh. The top comment, too, is funny. Better sing the same tune when those videos start coming out. But she was a regular visit at them Harvey Weinstein parties. Yikes. These black celebrities are cowardly and disgusting, backstabbing this nauseating stage. 90s heads still call him Puffy. That's funny. She was too busy going to different parties. Oop. Yikes. She's lying, y'all. Oprah parties with Kim, Kanye, Diddy, and Jagger. Dang, who's this? Annie wrote it. I know Annie feeling like, oh, Ann Oldenburg. Shout out to Ann Oldenburg. Where's Ann Oldenburg right now in life? I wonder how she feels. Ann Oldenburg. She's assistant director of a journalism program at Georgetown University. Shout out to Ann Oldenburg, man. She looked like a nice teacher too. Hey, Miss Ann. All right. Let me get back on track. God is about to light TD Jakes up for lying. Leave them alone, Jesus. No pun. Oh yeah, they did some stuff. 102%. That time Whitney Houston refused to start her tribute until Tupac's photo was shown. Where's my boy? We can't do this without him. RP to Miss Houston. BS detector off the charts. She thought this was a good idea. That's funny. Jesse Smollett. Shout out to my boy Jesse Smollett, man. TD was smooth over this dialogue. Was he there in his church when I was there when his church first opened in Dallas in 95. Lies just opened themselves up to more scrutiny, but you partied with Puff a couple of times. That was unexpected. That man TD Jakes said, what he said? He said, I only been to Puff's house 30 minutes to say happy birthday. Salute TD Jakes, first of all. Friend of the channel. If you know, you know. Like I said, every celebrity, especially if you black, has been around Puffy multiple times, dog, for decades. As long as I've been living, since the 1990s, bro. Every black celebrity been around Sean Diddy Combs. All of a sudden, Diddy gets jammed up. And ain't nobody seen nothing about nothing. I've been around Diddy, but not that type of. Nah, okay, all right, for real. That's what we doing. That's word now. Word is born. Okay, bet. TD Jake saying, I've never partied with Diddy, but I have gone to his house just once for 30 minutes and saying happy birthday to him, and that's it. Have you ever gone to somebody's house just once just to sing happy birthday to them? You ain't never went back? You never went there before? And if you go on to somebody's crib to sing happy birthday to them, it's usually for what? A birthday what? A birthday party. Come on, what are we doing? Like, trying to pee on my leg, tell me it's raining, trying to gaslight me and get people, your crowd, that you know is going to defend you, especially if you say something about, man, come on, man. I grew up in the South. I grew up in black church, bro. I know. It is what it is. All right, next thing. Diddy's text messages. This is from NBC News, written by Daniel Arkin. Diddy. His trial was abbreviated this week. The proceedings were effectively canceled on Wednesday after a juror called in sick and the federal court wasn't in session on Thursday in observance of the Juneteenth holiday. But this morning, all the key players returned to the courtroom to hear the testimony from one of the rappers' former... Run that back. One of the Raptors. Get some more diversity in your newsroom, bro. Please get some more diversity in your newsroom, dog. They done called Diddy a rapper, bro. Get some more diversity in the newsrooms. Seriously. Rappers' former personal assistants. Here's what you need to know on day 27 of the trial. Brendan Paul testified about the demands of his job as one of Diddy's former assistants. He told jurors he once went without sleep for 3 days. He recalled being asked about to buy thousands of dollars worth of drugs. He said the music mogul didn't take no for an answer. Take that for an answer, and compared his staff to the staff assistants of the U.S. military SEAL Team 6. Paul, facing cross-examination from defense attorney Brian Steele, agreed that Diddy's ex-girlfriend, quote-unquote, Jane, did not seem hesitant or apprehensive before, quote-unquote, freak-offs. Paul said Jane appeared to be a willing participant in the sexual encounters, contradicting her testimony and government's narrative. U.S. government prosecutors walked jurors through text messages from Casey Ventura to Diddy. In one text, Ventura said that she didn't deserve to be beaten by him. That's not love, that's possession, Ventura wrote, apparently referencing the 2016 hotel assault recorded on video. The defense again attempted to portray quote-unquote freak-offs as consensual encounters. They entered into evidence of a March 2017 text message in which Ventura wrote, I love our freak-offs, when they both want it. Crazy, man. All right, where we at? I seen these like screenshots of these text messages. I'll just read the rest of this, then it will go there. Where we at? Here it is. By Adam Reese, Chloe Melos, Catherine Kotorski, and Jing Fing. The view from inside. Diddy, wearing a white sweater and black pants, appeared engaged in today's testimony. He seemed to pay close attention to the prosecutor, Maureen Comey, as she questioned U.S. government summary witness Joseph Cercilio, a special agent of the Department of Homeland Security. Paul, the ex-assistant, stuck an ambiguous note. He concluded testimony for the day when asked by prosecutor Christy Salvage how he feels Diddy about Diddy today. Paul replied in two cryptic words: "It's complicated." Analysis. In this case, the star witnesses are the text messages by Danny Sevelos. Shercilio, the Homeland Security special agent, testified about charts of evidence compiled by prosecutors to confirm they correspond with the thousands of pages of records, including text messages. Diddy will almost surely not testify, but it really doesn't matter. That's because in a modern criminal case, especially in a federal criminal case, prosecutors can get witnesses and defendants' testimony in front of a jury without them ever taking the stand. Combing through thousands of pages of text messages is something at which special agents and federal prosecutors excel. It doesn't matter that a single text messages or a short series of messages can be taken out of context. Prosecutors will introduce it and add their own context. After all, if the defendant thinks that these statements are misleading, he can take the stand and dispute them, right? Except most of the time, the defendant does not take the stand. In this case, so far, the star witnesses have arguably not been the humans. They've been the things like the text messages, financial records, and other documents. For some reason, people have always put things in text messages as though they never thought they could become public. We're all guilty of that too. All of us are likely a part of a text message, quote unquote, group with our friends or family where we say things that, if publicly revealed, will cause a lot of problems. Certainly for Diddy, these texts have caused him a lot of problems, arguably more than the people who have testified against him. What's next? U.S. government prosecutors are expected to rest their case on Monday. Diddy's defense team has signaled that it will need around 2 days to present its case. If the rough timeline holds, closing arguments could take place on Thursday. PSA: every night of Diddy's trial, NBC Dateline will drop special episodes of the True Crime Weekly podcast to get you up to speed. Dateline correspondent Andrea Canning chats with NBC News' Chloe Mellis and special guests right in front of the courthouse. You can listen here. Shout out to NBC News. Shout out to Daniel Arkin. And as you see, like I said, get some more diversity in your courtroom. He done called Diddy a rapper. Okay. I just seen a bunch of screenshots on social media. That's why I looked for an article to see if I could confirm these text messages. So when I throw this out, just understand these are just screenshots from social media. This one right here has just 2 likes. That's it. So take with that what you will. Okay, Jules, device owner. And FYI, it's all last minute. You can make it happen. The tip will reflect that. Just let me know. Thanks. Sorry for the late notice. Yes, I can come. Call you in 1 hour. But yes, cool. Call me when you can. Okay, just got to the room. I will hop in the shower and start getting cleaned up. I'll wait for you to tell me. Okay, in 1 hour. You got it. What room? I'll text you when coming. Okay, let me know when ready. 20 minutes. Come to room 4901. I was hoping to fly out later tonight if you guys can arrange that. And you let me know if you wanted to fly me back and I'll set my alarm to it. Okay, I had a feeling free Friday, but I'll change it now. If it's early, it's okay. I'm trying to get you out tonight now. All good. I'll let you know. And you should come up in an hour. I just need to be back 12 noon Friday. I need a little more rest in 1 hour. Is that okay? I haven't slept in almost 2 days and you guys are rapids. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Puff. Oh, yeah. This is from Kanye West. I ain't gonna lie, that I ain't slept in 2 days. It's crazy, bro. All right. Need some other text. Hey, MIA, it's Puff. Please let me talk when you know you get 10 minutes to talk love. Hey, I don't want to be blowing you up your phone. I just need to talk to you for 10 minutes. I just need my memory jogged on some things. You were my right hand for years. So when I just speak to you, remember who was around me. And it would be good to hear your voice. But if you don't want to, all good. Just let me know. Love. Hope you're well. U.S. released more exhibits of Sean Diddy Combs' trial, including his former employee Mia's testimony. Here are texts he sent her in February 2024, the same month he got back together with the woman testifying under the pseudonym Jane. And yeah. So he hit her up the 4th, and then he hit her up again a couple days later. Here's an email from Mia in 2011, a small informal list of things to do, protect them at all times, his privacy, etc. Stay attached to the BlackBerry 24/7. Staying in PDs in sight unless he advised otherwise on duty. A photo Jane took on iPhone while vacationing in Turks with Combs was evidence of her testimony last week. I ain't slept in 2 days. Y'all are rabbits. It's crazy, bro. If that's true, that's real. Oh, here we go. TMZ. I can trust TMZ. This is what we were looking for. All right, Diddy trial. How escorts made to a Diddy trial freak off. Here are the instructions. This is published by the TMZ staff. All right. Okay, I'm headed to the airport. What's this? Tip or reflect. This is everything that the girl just posted. Okay, 1 an hour. I'll let you know. Hello, appreciate. Oh, I was hoping to fly out tonight. Hello, okay. Hit me when you wake up. Sorry, bro. No stress. You let me know. LOL, appreciate it coming. Was at the door knocking. I'll let you know if you're there. All right. So yeah. 2 days, bro. Y'all been going 2 days. I haven't slept in 2 days, and you guys are rabbits. He a fan. Allegedly. He a fan. Alleged fan. All right. What is this? All right, bro. We moving on. Where we at? Oh, DuB apologized. So as you guys know, I made 2 videos about DuB so far, talking about his former friends, quote unquote, Ty the Guy, and the latest has been McQueen. I called him out both times. I didn't like him doing it, but he has apparently since apologized to McQueen because he's received a lot of criticism from the fan support community of DDG, his brother. So with that being said, here's DuB apologizing.
Persons like even the McQueen stuff, like I had no reason. I'm being honest. I had no reason spazzing out on McQueen the way I did when I looked at that post. The only reason why I did that is because McQueen made a post and said what my brother it was like a year ago, and he was like talking about me. And I'm like, damn, I ain't talked to this nigga in years. Why is he talking about me? So I wanted to talk. When I had the opportunity to get the same exposure and just randomly talk about him, I did. And I made like you know what I'm saying? But I said some disrespectful shit to him just so I can, when we see each other, we can keep the same energy. But I don't want no, bro. I got to stop that shit, bro. Because I see how he took it was, okay, let's do internet. This shit is a game. But I took it on some serious shit. But like I said, bro, McQueen, you can make all the jokes. If we want to, if we doing jokes, we can do jokes. But as far as beef, I ain't got no beef with you. It ain't, and I want to make this clear. I'm not scared of McQueen. I don't think McQueen can like beat me in anything, like nothing. I don't think he can beat me in nothing. So it's not like no scary stuff. I just felt like, you know, what I said was disrespectful, and I apologize on that aspect. So no more beef with nobody. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't apologized to Ty. He said no more beef with nobody. Say Ty's name, bruh. Say Ty's name. Say Ty's name. We all be good if you said Ty's name, bruh. Say Ty's name. We all good, bro.
Getting into it with niggas at the club, and it's like, bro, you are tripping. Like when I start thinking about it, like, I don't know, bro. I feel like I'm a very, very mean person. And for this past 4 days, nigga, I asked my mom. My mom prayed for me. Because I'm like, man, I'm an evil ass person, bro. Like in my brain. I don't know why. But I'm changing that, bro. I'm changing that because God blessed me to be able to put in a position to, you know, be around people and, you know, have a voice. So I got to stop that shit, bro. Nobody want to be around somebody that might crash the fuck out randomly. I have no reason why. I mean, I got a reason because it's just where I grew up from and then all the tragedies I've been through. But that shit weird, bro. Like,
man, I apologize to Ty that guy, bro. I apologize to Ty that guy. You know what I'm saying? I apologize to Ty that guy, bro. You doing everything except for apologize.
My brother,
specifically to Ty. You went out of your way to talk about Ty in passing on vlogs. That's how it started when Ty first moved. And then it progressed into something else. And then it progressed into, you don't want to fall off like Ty the guy. And you did that for a few months. Ty ain't saying nothing. He just said, that's weird. And he kept it pushing. You the one that took it to the next level, called him poor, this and that. You ain't my man's. F Ty. Yeah, this. Why. Da-da. Nah, bruh. That man Ty don't do none but raise his family. He raised his son and he be with his girl, bro. That's all Ty does. Smoke. He smoke. He do his videos, his motivational videos to the young men and let them know how to be men and things of that sort. And then what else Ty does? He makes music and he make them videos. That's all Ty does, bro. And you, Ty, Ty, you fell off. You did this, Ty. Nah, man. Apologize to Ty, brother.
Now Van Diesel ain't really that. Drake, my brother, Rihanna, The Rock, John Cena. Yeah, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And I gotta realize that I am a reflection of my brother. Whatever I do affects my brother in some way or form because I'm a hothead, don't think about what I say before I speak. And I got to realize that my brother is one of the biggest. So even though I feel some type of way, retaliation, saying all this negative stuff, I do got to realize that I am a reflection of my brother, bro. Like he's the biggest he is the biggest content creator right now. Like one of the biggest, if not number two, if not number one, number two, if not number two, number three. We all can agree on that, bro. We all can 100% agree that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm never going to say anything. I'm going to still be my funny self. I'm going to still make the jokes, but I'm not disrespecting anything that can disrespect the brand. Because what I realize, and I got to realize, is that yes, I'm my own man. Yes, I got my own fans. Yes, I got my own supporters. But, nigga, my brother as long as my brother can make $10 million, I can make $2 million. And as long as my brother can make $1 million, I can make 500,000. That's just me. The bigger he get, the bigger I get, the bigger who I get, the bigger Halo get. So we got to keep this going. If I'm over here whooping niggas' asses just off every word niggas say, they going to be like, damn, you can go.
100%, bro. I'm glad he's coming to a senses. And also, like he said, I had no reason being like that. And he said, well, you know, my environment where I come from, Pontiac and things of that sort, you rarely see, if at all, him or DDG mention their brother, Dino. And God rest his soul and things of that sort. Don't speak ill of the dead, you know what I'm saying? They move past like the real stuff. And it's just like, I asked DuB about it directly, about losing the twin. And he just kind of moved past it. I said, do you ever have like survivor's guilt? He said, nah, I'm rich. I'm living in the hills. Like, I have nothing to feel guilty about. Like, I worked hard. But like, they never address, you know what I'm saying? Like, you lost your twin brother, bro. Like, that's a different type of connection. That's a different type of thing. Like, I see my uncles, they're twins, you know what I'm saying, lose their lives within like 6 months of each other. You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of connection and bond as a twin. And I never really even considered like, bro's dealing with some unresolved trauma. I never thought about that. Yeah, I spoke on Angel at the beginning. Nate, shout out Big Nate in the building. But yeah, DuB's dealing with some unresolved trauma, man. And I hope he, I don't know, can find the right help for it, the right avenue for it. Like, I'd assume this many years later, darn near a decade later, that he has sought therapy at some point for it. And he might not have found like the most effective way, or it might have helped a little bit, but he stopped going and now he needs to go. But I don't know. I don't know what the case is, but crashing out and calling, you know what I'm saying, calling out your old homies and calling them out their name ain't the way, in my opinion. It's just not the way. Yeah, Nate. With the joint, what was I gonna say? Angel McCoughtry. She pretty much was just like, I didn't mean to call Haley out by name, but I still stand on what I said. Like, that was her apology. And then she was like, to everybody picking this up and talking about it, you ain't talked about me in 3-4 years. You ain't talked about my movie. You ain't talked about my ice cream shop. You ain't talked about my other businesses. And that's all she said. And I was just like, salute to you for plugging yourself during all the drama and the beef and stuff like that. Like, that's the way to go. And then I just gave examples of other people doing that. I said it's just smart business move and things of that sort. Next, man, Jim Jones has been going on this thing like for a week that he's more impactful than Nas. This is Shannon Sharp content. Shout out Nightcap. Shout out Ocho. So he went on Nightcap and they pressed him about it and he's standing on it. I'll tell you right now, before we even press play, bro, I can't name 3 impactful solo Jim Jones songs. I can give you 2. Ballin' and the Find Your Love remix. Solo Jim Jones records, Capo records that is on that level. Cause Nas, you can name 3 off top. Whose World Is This? Dead Presidents. I'm out for presidents to represent me. And then, of course, New York State of Mind. I think of time, because sleep is a dozen a day. Come on, man.
When you say you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than
If I Ruled the World.
Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
You said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you. I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear.
I know I can. That ain't the first album. Be What I Want to Be. We sung that at our 5th grade graduation. We had a teacher from Harlem.
We used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like, I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm being honest. You ask me. I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, from the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game. Remember how this goes. You ever heard of a Kofi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys. You heard?
Hey, Jim.
Yo, and people out here acting like I said I'm gonna bring the Kofi list back. I just told you I'm gonna change man stuff for law. Key, you dig?
Nah, look, I'm put it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been at this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah, but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in.
I can be in the church house. You can't ever Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on. Jim.
You want to go back to I Really Mean It? I Really Mean It started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even
say
that,
bro. Don't do that, bro. That's
hold on.
I got a question. Let Nas stick up for itself and meet me in a booth for something if we want to do something historical.
Nas say he don't do that no more. Nas say he don't do that
because he got $100 million. He's a very wealthy man.
I really hope this Clips album has the response, Pusha T's response to Jim Jones, because this man just be talking crazy, bro. He talk crazy to Pusha. He talking crazy to Nas. Like, come on, bro. Like, both of y'all had y'all moments in recent years where y'all was around Ye a lot of times. Nas came out of it with some classic records with Ye, a very solid album with Ye. You came out of it with I Need My Bread. Where? And Ye walking around smiling wearing the Diplomats.
You heard he's a very smart businessman. He
hold on.
Jimmy, hold on. I got a question. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on. I got a question. And this you do, Jimmy, and anything that you do, right, I've heard you preach it all the time, right? When you was playing football, your first thing you always say, ain't nobody here better than me.
Tell him again.
You done told me that story a million times. Wait, listen to me.
Jim might have over 1 million, but I mean, Nas is filthy rich because he Mass Appeal is his brand. That's his company, record label, all the things, media company, things of that sort. And Nas is the ring camera. So Nas is a filthy rich.
Fuck you think I'm gonna be second to anybody in this world?
Jimmy,
but God,
Jimmy, stay with me real quick. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. But I'm just saying that mentality, isn't that how you supposed to feel? Isn't that how you supposed to feel?
You know, let me ask you a question. When you was on the field, you thought you was better than T.O. and Moss?
Hell yeah, what you mean?
Man,
I ain't gonna say it out loud.
You done came on here and say, I ain't better than Moss, I'm not better than T.O., I'm not better than Rice. You said that.
I'm not playing the game no more.
But you wasn't, when you was playing.
That's the difference.
Hey, Jim, while you talking, you need to get with the locks.
I'm still playing.
Jada them done cooked y'all at the verses.
Jim, be so for real right now, bro. I don't care if you still rapping, if you still doing the videos in public with the mic hanging from out of nowhere in the neighborhood, and you hanging around all Cash Cobain and King Combs. You're not still playing, bro. Cameron do a freestyle at the beginning of Is What It Is about twice a season. At the beginning of every show, he freestyle about twice a season. He does that on episodes. Cameron is not still playing. Just because you're still rapping doesn't mean you're still playing. It just means you're still rapping.
I'm still playing. I
gotta check out Slick Rick album, by the way.
At a high level. You better check my record.
You jumping up the
I'm still playing at a high level. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will
put his microphone up. Let me take my mic off.
By the way, Nas just went viral for his verse on the Slick Rick album. Like 2 weeks ago.
Nas right now rapping. Everybody knows that. You heard?
He
Let's not talk about the past.
He put it down. He set it down.
I will run laps around Nas rapping right now, bro.
Jim. Oh, you talking right now? But I'm talking about when y'all and his prime and your prime, you couldn't see him.
I'm still in it. Oh,
he done got out.
Cam was smoking his boots. I wasn't rapping when he was rapping, but Cam really got at him. You remember? I really mean it. We've been getting at them boys, but this is not about that. Right now, 2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around. Smoke.
He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million.
Okay, then. So then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
I'm on the field.
Like I said, Nas just went viral for a verse he had on Slick Rick's album about a week or two ago. The last time that Jim Jones went anything musically viral for was when he dissed Pusha T, and that was darn near a whole year ago. Stop it. Stop it, brother. You can't bait Nasir into rapping against you, man. Unless Nasir just wants to do it for the sport.
I'm picking on whoever, whatever. I don't care. I'm on the field.
Well,
and guess who's the most
field? Kendrick, Drake, Weezy, they on the field. You need to call like Drake. You need to call like Weezy. You need to call like Kendrick. You need to call somebody that's still in it. He ain't in it.
Why? Kendrick ain't my age. Kendrick ain't my age. I wasn't dating my era. That's not my era.
He retired. Have you ever heard of retirement?
Well, that's my era, so I'm calling all of them out. I don't care if you retired or not. Deal with it. If not, meet me in the booth.
It's another thing too. We at the end of this clip, so don't worry about it. But it's another thing too, bruh. I think Jim Jones, Pac-Man Jones, and Steven Jackson, those like the three big, like unabashful, like we still in the streets, we with the YNs at their big age, bro. That's kind of crazy. All three of them. I wish we could get 5 so we could get a 5 starting lineup and stuff like that. But it's just the big 3 right now. That's the big 3 of the old quote unquote YNs. And we should stop calling people YNs, you know what I'm saying, by the way, because it's just an excuse for people to use the N-word. That's okay. He's asking for the smoke. They'll respond in the diss tracks. We'll see if Nas does. And they also said Shannon stand on business. We see if Nas responds, but I don't think he will. But also, it's like beyond the Ye album, that was like what, 2017, 2018. After that, he went with Hit Boy for the 3-album run, and they won a Grammy out of it. They might have won 2. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Nas isn't worried about that, man. 100%. I was enjoying his Ring Money, bro. Listening to his verse from Slick Rick album.
Meet me in the booth, and I'm just talking about
hey, call Jada.
Let's get this right. I'm not mad. It's about the sportsmanship of the game. People know I'm a very aggressive person, and I seem to get misconstrued when I'm talking my shit. I'm just talking my shit, you heard? Let me talk my shit because I am on the field. If anybody got a problem with that, they can meet me on the field. That is the booth. Anybody from that era.
All right, bro. All right, Jim. I want to say that. I want to say this before we go to the next thing. Cam, I'll rap you, bro. Face the people in your group first. Face Jewels, face Cam, and then we could, you know what I'm saying? Let's go. You know, you and Cam got issues right now, right? Like it ain't so sweet, right? Y'all rap against each other. Let's see you get out your group first before we move on to Nasir. Nasir is crazy, nasty Nas, huh? We found too many slaves. It's so wild. Harvard, shout out to Phil Lewis. Harvard hired a researcher to uncover his ties to slavery. He says the results cost him his job. Quote unquote, we found too many slaves. This is from The Guardian. All right. Harvard hired a researcher to uncover ties to slavery. When the extent of the university's involvement with slavery was unearthed, a scholar tracking descendants of enslaved workers was suddenly fired. This is from Michaela Muskufu. Jordan Lloyd has been praying for something to happen. The 35-year-old screenwriter was quarantining in her apartment in North Hollywood in June 2020. Without any of the projects to fill her days, she picked up the novel Roots by Alex Haley to reread. The novel tells the story of Kunta Kinte, Haley's ancestor, who was captured and sold into slavery in the Gambia and then brought to Virginia, where he is forced onto labor on a plantation. It was adapted into the Emmy Award-winning television series in the 1970s, and while reading it again, Lloyd thought to herself, wouldn't it be nice if we could make another Roots? A few days later, out the blue, she received an email from an undergraduate student at Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The email was short. The woman introduced herself as Carissa Chin, a junior at the college studying history. She was working on an independent research project to find descendants of enslaved people connected to the university. By using historical records and modern genealogy tools, she found Lloyd. I have reason to believe through archival research that you could be the descendant of Tony and Cubo Vassal, 2 slaves from Antigua, by a founding member connected to Harvard University. Oh man, they smart at Harvard, ain't it? The email read, are you available for a call? Anytime for a call. The note linked to a website containing a family tree that Chin had created, tracing the lineage of people enslaved by Isaac Royal Jr., an Antiguan planter and businessman whose endowment would eventually create Harvard Law School. Oh man, Chin hadn't expected to find any living descendants, she told The Guardian, but through dogged research, she managed to uncover 50 names and found Lloyd through an old website she had made when she first moved to Los Angeles. All right, my bad. It all felt too specific to be a scam, Lloyd recounted. So she agreed to call that would eventually blow open everything that she thought she knew about her family history, linking her to one of the nation's most prestigious institutions and launching a phase of her life that would be colored with equal parts of joy and pain, U.S. universities and the legacy of slavery. Though it contradicts a common perception of the colonial New England, enslaved people were brought to work in northern cities in North America as well. In her book of New England Bound, the historian Wendy Warren records the remarks of one European traveler who noted that 1687, that there is not a house in Boston, however small means that it is, that has not been by 1 or 2 enslaved people. As the country's oldest and wealthiest university, Harvard's history is inextricable from the history of transatlantic slavery. The enslaved labored in campus buildings, university presidents and professors owned people forced into bondage, and the school's wealth grew from the circles of donors intimately connected to the plantation system in the Caribbean, the American South, and the trafficking of enslaved Africans across the Atlantic. Harvard began informally to research its relationship to slavery as early as 2007, when the history professor Seven Beckert started leading undergraduate research seminars such as the one that Chin took. In 2016, then Harvard president Drew Foss acknowledged that the university was directly complicit in slavery, and in 2022, the university released its official report, Harvard and the Legacy of Slavery, which detailed its history over more than 100 pages. Harvard is not only, this is photographs of an enslaved person in the U.S., possibly the oldest known in the country, were discovered in a basement of Harvard University Museum in 1977. Dang, photographed by Bettman Archive. Harvard is not only the only academic institution with this burden. Currently, more than 100 universities across the world are investigating their ties to slavery, the vast majority of which in the U.S. are a small subset of universities researching their ties to slavery. Approximately 5 have committed to conducting genealogical research and identifying living descendants. Religious denominations such as the Episcopal Church and Evangelical Lutheran Church in more than a dozen cities and 4 states have begun researching their legacies on slavery. The California State Reparations Task Force published a 1,000-page report 2 years ago, and the state legislators have been developing and passing reparations-related initiatives. The Guardian, founded in 1821 in Manchester, England, began its own process in 2020 when its sole owner, the Scott Trust, commissioned independent academic researchers to uncover its links to the transatlantic slavery. It revealed the newspaper's founders, John Edward Taylor, had 9 out of 11 financial backers and had direct ties mainly through Manchester's cotton industry. In 2023, the Scott Trust apologized for its role in its transatlantic slavery and committed its 10-year restorative justice program with millions earmarked for the descendant communities. That year, The Guardian also launched an ongoing series called The Cotton Capital, which explores the legacies of the slavery global. The 2022 Harvard report included a list of recommendations by the Presidential Committee: develop educational partnerships with historically Black colleges and universities, create a public memorial, and perhaps the most continuously identify living descendants of people enslaved by university staff, leaders, and faculty. The announcement was accompanied with a $100 million endowment for implantation. The person of the university tapped to lead the descendant research is a man by the name of Richard Seleny, who had a kind of mythological status in the world of institutional accountability and slavery research. By his own admission, his skill lies primarily in selecting talented researchers and quote-unquote keeping them happy. The university, it seemed, was fully committed to beginning the process of discovering an atonement, putting resources together and brain power behind a project that could set the tone for institutions around the country and the world. If successful, Harvard could demonstrate that the truth-telling and the reconciliation are possible on a large scale, and that an institutional culture around the silence of historical revisionism can be overturned, and that the light can shine in its deepest cracks. And that will ultimately not be the case, not yet at least. A source of guilt and shame for Harvard. When I visited Seleny in the archives of the Harvard Business School in the mid-February, he was bent over a 19th century ledger book, trained on a set of records with a magnifying glass. He's a trained attorney and tech entrepreneur, and through jovial and quick to joke, he becomes stoic when speaking about his research. In 2015, he started an independent project at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. to locate the descendants of 272 enslaved people sold by Jesuit leaders in the mid-1800s to raise money for the university. Seleny said that he is driven by a sense of moral outrage upon learning about the sale, as well as a curiosity to see what he could find. Along with 10 other researchers, they would eventually locate more than 10,000 direct descendants. Cellini's effort, called the Georgetown Memory Project, remains independent, although the university was given a preferential consideration during the admissions process to descendants and created a quote-unquote reconciliation fund for their benefit. In the winter of 2022, before a Harvard report was made public, Cellini said that he was approached by former president of the school, Larry Bacco, and the dean, Tamiko Brown Najin, who asked him if he could do the same thing for Harvard. When he started the research, Harvard had already identified the names of 70 people that had been enslaved with ties to the university. Over the course of the past 3 years, working alongside American ancestors, the country's preeminent genealogical institute, Cellini and his researchers have identified more than 900 people who have been enslaved by university affiliates, faculty, staff, and other people in leadership positions, and nearly 500 of their direct living descendants. Oh my gosh, Harvard. It wasn't long after the work that began to pick up the steam that Cellini started running into trouble. And in March 2023, he said that he asked to meet with the project's executive director, Roshana Moore Evans, and Harvard staff members overseeing the initiative, the public health professor, and the vice provost for special projects, Sarah Bleach. These informal meetings that were held in a boardroom in the Student Center, a tall glass building overlooking the gates of Harvard, y'all. It was here and during the extended phone calls that Cellini claims that he was told repeatedly by Bleach was not to find too many descendants. He was told not to find too many descendants. At one point, the fear was expressed that if we found too many descendants, it will bankrupt the university, he said. We're scared. If they find out that we used to be racist, we're going to lose all of our donations. If they found out that we had too many races, we're going to lose all of our donations. Cellini, this is Roberta Roof. Roberta. How can I not say such a simple name? Roberta. There we go. Roberta Wolf, a descendant of Tony, Cuba, and Darby Vassal, people enslaved by Harvard benefactors in the institution's first decades, on the front porch of her family home in 2022 in Bellingham, Massachusetts. She still lives in Massachusetts. Excuse me. And her descendants were enslaved by Harvard staffers. Look at God. Cellini told Bleach that it was quote unquote ludicrous, he said. Was he supposed to falsify the evidence, to destroy it, to ignore it? I asked for guidance, and the answer was that she didn't know, he said. But we shouldn't report too many descendants. Bleach denied this. The university never issued a directive to him to limit the number of direct descendants that could identify through the work, she told The Guardian during a phone interview. Moore Evans declined to comment on the meetings. In the process of trying to get additional funding for the project, arguing that the amount of work has increased tenfold because of all the additional names that were being uncovered, Cellini met with the finance director of the president's office, Patricia Harrington, this past fall. Harrington wouldn't give a clear answer about the funding request, telling him that, quote unquote, unfortunately, you keep finding more slaves, he said, and that, quote unquote, every new person is a source of guilt and shame for Harvard. We finding these truths to be self-evident that, come on, man. How many history people we got in the chat, bro? What is we talking about right now? Sports Potion for the university said that, quote unquote, any assertion that Patricia Harrington disparaged the work and the legacy of the slavery initiative, including the descendant of research, is false. Even though Cellini was eventually given a budget for 2025, albeit a fraction of what she asked for, the university would soon halt his work entirely. A family's rich history tied to the founding of the U.S. In the early days of discovery were a golden time for Lloyd and her immediate family. Together with Lloyd's father, Dennis and Chin, they would agree to meet over Zoom and swap stories. Her dad was sharing parts of family history that Lloyd had never heard before about his soft-spoken mother and his dad, who owned a flower shop in a neighborhood in Boston called Charlestown. People will open up to a stranger in a way that is more honest and more unfiltered, wanting to go more thorough in a way that you will never go with your family, Lloyd said. Chin, in turn, detailed the findings of her research to Lloyd's and they began to fill in their histories, tracing connections to the colonial period and the height of the quote-unquote triangular trade. Lloyd's ancestors, 7 generations back, Cuba Vassal, was 3 years old when she was forcibly moved from Antigua to a suburb of Boston along with her family by Isaac Royal Jr. in 1737. The Royals were the largest slave-owning family in Massachusetts Bay Colony, owning nearly 70 enslaved people who labored on a 500-acre plantation just north of Boston, as well as controlling more than 100 people on their plantation in Antigua. Before long, Lloyd's ancestors were transferred to another wealthy Cambridge family, the Vassals, for whom they labored in an elaborate Georgian mansion currently known as the Longfellow House near the campus of the growing Harvard University. The Vassals owned plantations in Jamaica where more than 1,000 people were enslaved. John Vassal was a Harvard graduate along with his brother Lewis, who once paid the portion of tuition for the large barrel of sugar, one of the more lucrative commodities produced by enslaved people. Cuba's original enslaver, Isaac Royal Jr., didn't have any direct ties to Harvard when he was living, but he endowed a professorship in his will, likely to ensure his legacy that would live on as a member of the colonial elite. The seal of the Harvard Law School was the royal family crest until 2016, when students protested to demand its replacement. The royal professorship was retired in 2022. At the Longfellow House, Cuba met with a married man named Tony, originally from Jamaica, who was enslaved by the Vassals. They had 6 children, including Lloyd's ancestor, Darby. During the American Revolutionary War, the royalist Vassals fled, and the house was occupied by George Washington, who used the headquarters during his siege of Boston. Excuse me. According to one anecdote, Washington then asked 6-year-old Darby to work for him, who replied he wouldn't work with outrageous. A 6-year-old Darby, and a 6-year-old was like, I ain't gonna work for free. Smart 6-year-olds back in the 1700s, huh? After the war, Tony and Cuba petitioned the state to stay in a small dwelling on the property where they cultivated a piece of land for farming. They had both spent 60 years of their life into slavery, Tony wrote in a 1781 letter, and they, quote unquote, through deprived of what makes them how happy beyond expression, yet they have ever lived the life of honesty and have been faithful in their master's service. The Guardian's style here is making me mad because all punctuation is supposed to go inside the quotation marks. As a side note, he appealed to the court's sense of morality, writing that, quote unquote, they should not be denied of the sweets of the freedom of the remainder of their days by being reduced to the painful necessity of begging for bread. His petition to stay in the house was refused, but Tony was then given an annual pension, one of the earliest examples of a formerly enslaved person receiving compensation. I know that's right. The Isaac Royal House and the slave quarters in Medford, Massachusetts. Dang. Tony's son Darby then went on to become one of the more important figures in burgeoning free black community of Boston. He was an activist throughout his life, supporting the abolitionist movement, becoming a founding member of the African Society of Boston, and adding his name to a state petition to protect black people against the Fugitive Slave Act, along with his daughter and son-in-law. At the end of his life, Darby chose to be buried in the Vassal family tomb underneath Christ Church in Cambridge, which Lloyd and her family went up to visit last June. The tomb was in his basement, and it's in a low-ceilinged crypt locked behind the heavy black metal doors and a couple inches of a curved brick structure peeking above the granite dust floor is the only indication. A dry flower arrangement that Lloyd left is still there. A tidy pile of lavender, white, chrysanthemum, and clover. Hold on. Chrysanthemum. Hold on. Give me a second. We on here. How you say this? Oh, no.
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. All right, chrysanthemum. A white chrysanthemum and clover. Making these connections and being able to visit her ancestors' grave brought Lloyd a deep sense of, quote unquote, internal certainty and peace and comfort and groundedness, she said. quote unquote, I will want that for everyone whose family is somehow affiliated, yet the joy and excitement comes with a deep sadness. Why hasn't this been resolved? She wondered aloud during the interview phone call. Why did no one else in my family know? Lloyd's only contact from the administration, she said, was a quote unquote icy interaction with Brown Nation during a group call. And then she said she heard nothing since. Naively, I was expecting them to be very welcoming and excited to facilitate discussion, she said. I was hoping that they would be warmer, more open to reconcile the long history. The university says that it has now began the outreach process. Since the initiative was announced, the university has been given more than $4 million in grants to local organizations and built up partnerships with historically Black colleges and universities that hold on. Okay, such as the Boy Scholars Program. This is by far the hardest job that I've had, Bleach, who oversees the Harvard Legacy of Slavery Institute, said. We are very serious about this. We are very sincere. Firings, resignations, and attempt to dilute and delay research. In late January, as he was pulling his car into the parking lot of Harvard Business School, prepared to begin another day of research in the university archives, Selene received a call from an HR person who said he and his team were fired effective immediately. He was never given an explanation, he said, and a university spokesperson told The Guardian that, quote unquote, we cannot comment on personnel matters. The genealogy research and the university announced that after Selene's firing would be continued through the quote-unquote expanded partnership with American Ancestors, the genealogy nonprofit that had already been working closely with Selene's team. Quote-unquote, they are the world's best genealogists, Selene said, based on his team's research in the Harvard archives, identifying school leaders, faculty, or staff who owned enslaved people and the names of people they enslaved. American Ancestors would then search downstream, or as Selene put it, for living descendants. In this new agreement, the organization has taken over in all aspects of research. The initiative received its first public blow last spring when two university professors on the committee to create the memorial stepped down, staying in an open letter that the university had attempted to quote unquote dilute and delay their efforts. Come on now, let's run this back. Two professors on the committee to create a memorial stepped down, saying in an open letter that the university had attempted to dilute and delay their efforts in reaching out to descendants. The committee was formed in 2023 based on one of the recommendations of the Harvard and Legacy of Slavery report to, quote unquote, honor enslaved people through memorialization. In a statement made to the student newspaper, a spokesperson for the university said that it, quote unquote, takes seriously as the co-chair's concerns about the importance of community involvement and taking of steps that will enable Harvard to deeply engage in descendant communities. A couple of weeks later, the executive director of the initiative, Moore Evans, stepped down after reporting conflicts with the university administration to HR. She told The Guardian that she left, quote unquote, for personal reasons. This is the grave of Cecilia, a 15-year-old Negro servant of the Reverend William R. Brattle, a treasurer at Harvard College. Wow. At an old burying ground just outside the Harvard Yard on the 27th of April, 2022 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Here lies the body of Cecilia, a Negro late servant to the Reverend William Brattle. She had died April 7th, 1714, being 15 years old. Jeez Louise. Selene suspects the reason that he was fired is simple. We found too many slaves. Wow. The university was afraid that identifying descendants will bankrupt the university with so much each name of his team identified as quote unquote expensive, he said. The work he oversaw was quote unquote just the tip of the iceberg. Wow. He added, estimating that the numbers of the living descendants could be about 10,000 people. Jeez Louise. Selene had to come back from Antigua just a couple days prior, where his team had visited on the site of the Royal Plantation, as well as 4 other plantations with ties to the university. They also found 100 additional names of enslaved people with ties to the university in public archives, he said. Selene and his team met with the Prime Minister and the governor of Antigua, who expressed interest in working with the university to explore this connection. Selene said that he detailed his meetings with the politicians to the university, but those requests were never answered. He was fired shortly after. The Antiguan ambassador to the U.S., Sir Ronald Sanders, wrote in a letter to the university after learning that Cellini was fired, writing that the decision was made, quote unquote, without consultation or notification. The country wants, quote unquote, real engagement and meaningful action that befits the benefits that Harvard derived, he wrote. Quote unquote, we would not expect the cash payment from Harvard, a spokesperson added, quote unquote. However, so well endowed a university with expertise in a number of areas can be helpful to our country. The cabinet discussed the possibility of Harvard funding ancestry research to identify descendants of Antiguans that were brought to the colonial Massachusetts and seeking the university's assistance in public health matters to address the high rates of chronic illness on the islands. A spokesperson for Harvard said in a letter had been sent in response but refused to elaborate. The spokesperson for Antigua said, quote unquote, I have not had a response and cannot confirm if a response had been received. A life spent and exhausted for the production of sugarcane. The royal plantation, which likely stretched across 200 acres down to the Port Royal Bay, enslaved more than 100 people. Only the ruins of sugar mill remain on the private property. The stone structure stands for 100 feet tall on a grassy field bordering some woods. Here, enslaved people lived and worked on a plantation, feeding sugarcane until metal rollers through dangerous and physically exhausting process to make syrup. It's pretty visceral, Cellini said about visiting the site. This is where lives were spent and exhausted and consumed for the production of sugarcane for the wealth of the British Empire. The Isaac Royal House and slave quarters at Medford, Massachusetts. Ever since being contacted by Chen, Lloyd felt that the weight of her family history and the sense of responsibility. Her ancestors repeatedly petitioned for their freedom, for their rights of humanity. Darby and his sister Flora had both been separated from their families by enslavers as young children. Tony Vassal brought his daughter's freedom when his enslaver died by injury sustained at the Battle of Bunker Hill. 6-year-old Darby walked 10 miles, home to his family. The family had been staunch abolitionists and activists, suffered through the bondage, and fought for their freedom. Lloyd struggles with where that leaves her. I just don't know where to begin, quote unquote, Lloyd said. She considers taking social media, calling the administration and making demands. Should she protest? She doesn't know. Lloyd's sister, who declined to be interviewed for this article, went to Antigua, and Lloyd said that she's also interested in going. I would go anywhere to talk to anyone at this point, she said, except for Harvard, because there's no one there that I really trust right now. Quote unquote, I feel like I'm close to explosion, she said. My ears are still ringing. This article was amended for June 21st, 2025. John Vassal was a Harvard graduate, not John Everett Taylor, as the story originally said. Man, first of all, this is what journalism's all about. Amazing story. Who wrote this? Michaela Muscofo. Amazing. Sensational story. Second of all, once again, I feel like something that I'm constantly, hammering down the importance on this channel for like the past few months is the current Trump administration, and not even just the current Trump administration, but I feel like the Republican Party at large for the past decade or so have made a conservative effort of taking out a lot of history out of the history books. And it was already, as is, so much not being taught to the kids, so much that I wasn't taught into college when I was kind of minoring in African American studies and things of that sort. No. I was minoring in theater, but I took a lot of African American studies classes in college, and it was stuff that I was like, dang, like, why did we never learn this? 13 years of grade school, bro. Like, we never learned any of this stuff, and it was just so much. And that was just the tip of the iceberg, because they were just semester long courses and things like this. It all comes back to this. What did Harvard say? They said they felt ashamed. They said they felt scared. They said they were going to lose their money if people just found out how many of them were attached to slaves and descendants of slaves, slave owners and things of that sort. And your history and the books and reading and learning your history, the curriculum is so powerful. It's so powerful. That's why they don't want you to know any of it. And so it's important that you do go out of your way and you do learn it while the books are still around, because they're going to get rid of the books. They're going to get rid of a lot of the information on online archives. They're just going to disappear one by one. They're going to be scrubbed. The records are going to be scrubbed. And, that's just kind of where it's going, because it's considered quote unquote woke curriculum. And their justification for it is that it incites and kind of encourages a divisive society. Society is going to be divisive regardless. So you might as well teach them the truth about why people think a certain way or move a certain way, because there is a history of this stuff. Hence the word history. And the patterns, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that happens now has happened before. And if people can understand that, they can understand life more, and they can understand modern society more, and civilization, et cetera, et cetera. You take that away from the schools, you take that away from the general public to consume, and you have a lost generation, bro. And you have people who think that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. Hey, it's easy. My name is Rashad Milligan, man. I hope you guys enjoy the stream, man. W stream. We will be back tomorrow because I'm live every single day. I hope you had a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Have a good day whenever you're watching this. And if nobody else told you today, I care for you. I will see you tomorrow because I stream every single day. Peace.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.